Hello, this is Yohei from 8 Values. Today I will be talking with Tam Nguyen, a software engineer at amptalk. Tam, thanks for coming on, man.
Hey, thanks for having me, dude.
So, Tam,
Yeah.
we actually know each other
Yep.
outside of like amptalk and today
Yep.
because we went to the same coding boot camp.
You're the senpai.
I am the senpai,
You're the senpai.
of the Code Chrysalis squad. So,
Yep. Yep.
up?
Single digits.
Yeah,
Single
yeah.
digits.
So
Mm.
I kind of wanted to start with the beginning of your tech career.
Sure.
So, how did you begin your tech career?
Yeah, I started my tech career at the beginning of COVID. So that was definitely, COVID was a bad time for a lot of people, and myself
Yeah.
as well. But, I try to change a bad thing into a good thing. So, my wife is Japanese, and we decided to move to Tokyo. And, for me to live in Tokyo, it was kind of either an English teaching job
Yeah.
or software developing type of job. So I decided to go that route. Just, I want to be an engineer because English teaching is cool, but I'm don't think I'm really too much of a teacher. So that essentially that's what it was. And I spent 3 months code chrysalis, and
Sure.
then some time before that. But really at the start of COVID, that's
Yeah.
where it was. So
So, what was the decision-making process for, I guess, deciding on Tokyo? Were you considering other places to move to?
mainly my wife, because family is really important to her. I think we're in the States for quite a bit of time, and I think she just missed her mom, missed her
Sure.
dad and stuff like that. So we just made the move over here.
Nice. And did you have any doubts or fears about moving to Japan?
Oh, sure. Yeah, for sure. One, you can't even speak the language. How am I going to order at the freaking McDonald's, man? You know what I'm saying? I think I did have those types of fears initially,
Sure.
but actually just coming in and just seeing how friendly everybody is, and it's quite easy. It's not like I'm going to live in France and then people are going to be jerks over there because I can't speak French, you know what I'm saying? No, it was not bad. It was cool. Yeah.
I really like
Yeah.
how if you speak any kind of Japanese at all,
I speak
you'll
a-
get "Nihongo jozu desu ne."
Yeah,
You have, a real
that's
support.
true. That's true. That's true. I don't even get that because I don't even open my mouth. I'm just I look Asian, so if I act that way, they're definitely gonna give me that business. So yeah.
Did you have any challenges when you were
Mm.
moving here in terms of housing and stuff?
I've been very lucky. My wife's family took care of a lot of it. Everybody has been so friendly. The transition has been really smooth. So
Nice.
most likely I'm probably gonna live here for most of my life.
Nice.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Unless I get a job in America, but that's not gonna happen anytime soon.
So, when you
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
want to become a software engineer, this is let's say COVID time, right?
Yep.
How did you go about the first baby steps of learning how to program?
Yeah,
and stuff?
so that was a really big career move, right?
Yeah.
Learning how to code and really just taking the dive. It was asking a lot of questions with people who are already in the industry, asking a lot of questions with people who already they made the change to move over here. So I think just the Code Chrysalis, the school, it was definitely a great opportunity to just change everything. I think I had a conversation with one of the previous people who had gone to the school, and I just asked him, how was it? Really did it impact you in a way that is it worth the change, right? Because I'm about to change my whole life with my wife, and now have a baby a couple years later. But at that time, I'm for the future, is this going to be worth it? Because man, I'm going to be doing this for the rest of my life. So I had a lot of questions. Do I like it? Is it going to make me enough money? Can I grow with it? Those three questions probably were the primarily factors for
Sure.
me to make that move.
Yeah. I mean, do you remember what some of the people that you talked to said about I guess the program, or about going through Code Chrysalis, when you were talking to people in the industry?
Yeah, I think for people who went through the school, it was just a grind. But this is, the experiences were different, right? Because
Sure.
prior to COVID, everybody was in person. And when COVID happened, it was just oh, dude, survival mode. We just got to get it done, whatever it takes.
Yeah.
So, I think it was primarily you're going to have a good time. It's going to be challenging, and you might cry. I mean, it might just be really tough. It just whatever the circumstances were. But at the same time, I realized I enjoyed it.
Sure.
Because it was like something that was different from the past of what I used to do. And so like for me, yeah, man, it was very nice just to code things out, creatively, like it's like a lot logical creativity. So you're creating something, but it's just like, it's like mathematical in a sense. Yeah.
And was there like a particular like field or technology that you liked that you learned while at Code Chrysalis? Like, hey, like some people like more back end stuff.
Yeah.
Front end stuff.
It's tough to say because like it's such a rush. It's such a quick thing. Like you touch like so many different pieces of the front end, the back end, and you're just like, okay, I kind of like this, and I think I'll be good at this. But then you don't really know until you actually get into the industry. And then when you get into the industry, then you have like the people who've been in it, like they really teach you like, okay, hey man, these are like the best standards, or this is like what depending on the type of company you're working for will definitely like change your perception and the experiences of like how you look at engineering.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
And I think one of the things about Code Chrysalis that I think has really surprised me is like the alumni network just grows and grows and grows.
Oh, for
right?
sure.
And like the people that were like just starting out, like like early in Code Chrysalis are now like getting more senior at like a bunch of different companies, right? And so like while there's like more people coming into like the Slack and stuff, like everyone that like was like CC1 through let's say 5 or like they're like kind of slowly moving up, right? And so like there's like a lot of connections there as well.
Yep. I want to hit up Bill from CC1, bro.
Yeah.
Like, yo, man, hit me up, man. If you watch this, hit me up. Just kidding. I'll just message him on Slack later.
Oh.
Yeah.
And so I guess how was it adjusting to I guess the job, because like I feel like the bootcamp's one thing, like for sure, right? It's tough. It's you learn a bunch of new stuff, and you meet a lot of cool people. But like when it comes to work, I feel like it's like there's a lot more to learn. Like, it's like just the start, right? It's like you don't like learn everything about software development in like 3 months. It's just like it's the start.
It's the start. Yeah.
How was the transition for you, like to the industry?
Yeah, transition was so start of COVID. Now it's like a couple months into it, and it was I have to say, like, I was desperate. So my first job was like, it was cool as a dev agency, so they churned out a lot of code for like different places like websites, companies, and landing pages, things like that. And so for there, it was a lot of front end. And at Code Chrysalis, I was really bad at CSS, and so that was kind of like my weak point. But through that particular first time, that job, that I was like became much more proficient, and then I learned bunch of best practices and things like that. Yeah, it's definitely a learning curve. It's just nice that whenever you start, it's always nice to have a mentor.
Sure.
And I think when you join a company, whoever that person may be, it's always nice, because I feel that what's different between like certain careers and paths you may take, like sometimes it's a solo thing. You don't really have a mentor. You just have like, if you're an entrepreneur or something, right? You just learning as you go. Maybe you have those experiences that will shape you or something, but you don't actually have somebody in engineering. You'll always have somebody a little bit more senior than you, or somebody you may talk to, and they'll always kind of lead you towards the better path. Whichever may be easier for you to code. And I think that's what I learned through the first job. Just knowing that, oh man, there are people who know what's up, and so I can just ask them, they can tell me, and I can just level up. Like this is very straightforward, it's nice. It's like I'm not trying to recreate the whole damn wheel. I'm just, I got homies that people just let me know.
So at my first job, that person was Shinji.
Oh yeah. Now it's Shinji for me too. He's a smart dude, man.
And so how did you after the dev agency, how did you end up at learning about amptalk and
AmpTalk? So funny story. So I tried to apply to Restart, So I
Yeah.
applied to this. I know you guys used to work all there.
Yeah.
And I just kept in touch with Shunji.
Yeah.
So I told him like, oh yeah, thanks for interviewing me and things like that.
Sure,
And I was just really cordial, and he was cordial back, and we just kept that connection.
Sure.
I think a year later he hit me up and like he was like, yo, are you looking for something? I know you're working with like Vue and things like
Yeah.
that. And I'm like, yeah. I am looking for
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
And so I just made the switch from there, and then everybody in the company has been really like nice to me about it.
Hey.
Yeah, it was just a different type of experience I was looking for. I think because primarily before it was just I was making a lot of different code. Like I was doing a lot of code for like websites and like things, maybe some backend, some like Web3, and like all this. All the technologies here is just focused on one product. So maintaining that one product is like much different for coding for many different things.
Sure.
So I was looking for that experience. I was like, okay, I want something that I can just focus on one thing. And how do they maintain it over a long period of time? And how does that like when people change like the requirements and things like that, product and things. Yeah, what does that look like? Because I don't know what that looks like. I really like I can think about what it looks like, but I really want to know. So I really want to take that dive, and that's what I did for amptalk. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
I think when I hear about the story of how you
Yeah.
got to know about amptalk,
Mm-hmm.
it sounds like it wasn't even like the technical ability, but it was like your
Yeah,
like
no.
personality and like your like networking or like just like being cordial is like the
Yeah.
I guess the soft skills
Yep,
aspect of it that like I don't know brought you here.
Yeah.
Which is like kind of crazy, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny that you say that. I feel like in engineering, I think in many job markets, right? Like being able to make a good first impression, being able to just know people, I think that goes a long way because like people can only have so much time for going through papers and people and things like that. And I think like my approach to that, like job hunting, like it's like I want you guys to see my face. I want you guys to know who I am, but put a label on me, but not like something that you just put on paper.
Sure.
So that was the impact I wanted to have when I just talk to people in general. And I think that maybe that approach is like not so common for some other people, because I think they think like, oh, okay, it's just like a one-way linear thing, but life isn't linear. So sometimes you got to like break out of the mold to do different things. Yeah.
I guess you might be the perfect person to ask about this, but I mean, do you have any advice for I guess the bootcamp grads that are I guess graduating nowadays about like how to find that first and second job and how to go about being the kind of person that can get those jobs?
Yeah, you gotta have some thick skin. Have thick skin. You have to be willing to take like a, how should I say this? It's like you want to be out there to meet people, and you know that your situation may not be the best, and you just want to be available, because you can't assume that people are going to look at you a certain way or something. You just have to just throw your best effort and just a good vibe, and then just let things happen. Be in a good position, right? Networking, knowing like where like, oh, maybe this company, just kind of listening around, just talking to people. Using connections, all your connections,
Sure.
Yeah. I would say just like, ask your alumni. If you're from Code Chrysalis, just ask your alumni for help and stuff. Sometimes they may help, sometimes they may not, just depending on the circumstances, right? So that's how I feel about like how I would approach like anything. If I really don't know it, like I've just, ask around and just kind of go from there. Go to events.
Yeah.
Go to events, network.
Network, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
could you talk a little bit about, I guess, your current role now at amptalk and I guess what you do kind of daily here?
Sure. At amptalk, so I'm a full stack engineer, but I primarily lean towards the front end. And what's great is that, it's all JavaScript. So Node in the back end, Vue in the front end, and serverless AWS. It's great. I mean, I do everything. So, but like I said, like I have mentors here at amptalk that know much more than me, or can introduce me to like different books and things like that, best practices. So it's great.
And can you like describe a typical week of a amptalk software engineer? So it's like
A typical week is like we have a couple days meetings. So like on Monday we'll have a backlog meeting or something like that. We'll talk about what we did, and then yeah, just coding by myself. If I need help, just hit somebody up on Slack, or just do a quick huddle on Slack, and then go through that feature, send a small PR each day, just very incrementally like building out the feature rather than like a whole, like, I'm building this whole big thing and then, dump it in on one day. Be horrible for reviewers.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, but here it's just like very incremental.
Yeah.
So it's nice. It's very, I would say very peaceful, very nice. And like, you already know what your day is. It's just like every single day, very like similar.
Yeah.
And you have space to learn. So it's great.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess I think every engineer learns it on their first job is make smaller pull requests.
Make smaller pull requests. Make smaller pull requests, because like your implementation may not be the most correct way. So if you do like a whole big PR and then like they're just like, yo, I don't think your logic here is working here, or this logic is working here. No. So we gotta break it down, and it takes everybody's time. So just do a small. But I would say it depends on the company. So certain companies, they may like big pull requests, and it's kind of like I would run away from those companies, because now I know that sometimes that type of work environment is not like the best for that. So at least not for the best for a calm mental state of programming, because you can get really hairy quite quickly. Yeah.
It might be those kinds of places where I guess they might have like awesome tests, but you release on Friday, and then you're on call on Saturday, and then you got to stick around.
You don't want to be that person. But I get really scared. No, I don't want to be that person. I'm trying to live my life, man. Code and live my life.
And like for the people that don't know, how would you describe amptalk's product?
Yeah,
like what's like the 30-second pitch?
Oh man, I'm not the best person to ask. I mean, I develop it, but like essentially we are like a hub for sales enablement. So people who are making calls through Zoom or phone calls and things like that will record it, transcribe it, and then your managers, or you yourself can review it and take a look at like, okay, at what point in the process was like did I do a good job or not, and stuff like that. And so it's more like a sales enablement. Essentially, that's the short word for it. Yeah.
And you said that I guess Shinji, one of the software engineers here at amptalk, I think asked you because you had kept in touch if you were available for an open position. Did you go through like the formal interview process with amptalk?
Yeah.
Could you tell me a little bit about how you like I don't know, displayed your good traits within the interview process here?
Yeah, let me think back on it. Yeah, I think it was the interview process was like meeting in person, live coding together, and also like lunch to see like if I vibe with the team and not. And yeah, it was cool. Everybody speaks English here, so everybody's really friendly. And just told them my story, told them what I was looking for, essentially like what type of experiences was I trying to go for, because very different experiences from coding from a small dev agency, coding out for like many different companies and stuff like that. So it worked out.
And I guess what were you looking for other than like, so you want it to be I guess from a dev agency to an in-house product, right? Like something that's like primarily technical. Was there anything else you were looking for?
Growth, because like you can spend a lot of time not doing the right thing, and then you wouldn't even know it. You know what I'm saying? Like, because like you're so used to doing things in a certain way that you don't know that there might be a better way to do things. And I'm definitely guilty of that, and I just knew that, okay, I need to break out of this somehow. And so that's essentially just looking for better ways of doing the same things.
And I guess, are you now involved doing the interviews for potential candidates for software engineers now?
I'm currently not. I'm currently not. I mean, they do like talk about it with me, like, oh, there might be somebody joining, or like, may have like some like front end or back end and those types of things. But no, I'm not part of the interview process right now.
Okay. Can you like speak about the overall I guess company culture or environment at amptalk? Like, I guess in your own words, how would you describe what this place is like?
Um, hmm. Yeah, it's a place where they want you to be your best self.
Mm-hmm.
They're not trying to push you to be like one way or another, but essentially like, what do you like? And like just go for it.
Mm-hmm.
They give you that freedom to just do that. So they're not trying to mold you into anything, but if you already have like good character and like you're just really looking to like improve or you're looking to contribute in a way that's like, okay, we're missing this, so we need it. And they give you that space. They don't try to like question. They don't try to like question in a way that would make you like undermine your decision making, but more
Sure.
like, okay, let's logically and think through these things, like, and you know what problem are we solving,
Sure.
yeah. So lots of space,
Yeah.
but at the same time they're willing to help if they want to. Yeah.
I was talking to I guess Keita-san
Oh, okay. Yeah,
earlier today,
yeah.
and like he said the exact same thing. Like,
Oh, really? Word?
and
Nice.
he's like,
Yeah, yeah.
when he like tries to give feedback or like is like talking with any software engineer, it's like it's not so much like do this, do that. It's more
Yeah.
like, okay, like let's talk about it. Like let's discuss.
Yeah, yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
oh, it's like really interesting that you say that as well. Why do you why do you enjoy working at amptalk? I mean, I guess the same question rephrased.
Yeah, yeah. It's peaceful. Like
Yeah.
it's peaceful. Like I'm not stressed out. I think that's the biggest thing. Like everybody's so friendly. Like I don't have to worry about politics. That's the feeling. Like I really don't have to worry about like, do I have to act or have to do a certain thing? Do I have to like, persuade somebody in a certain way? It's more like, we have that space where we're like, okay, if you make a mistake, hey, you made a mistake, but we're not gonna like, grind you out for
Sure,
it. You
sure.
know what I'm
Sure.
saying? So I think like having that type of like safety net is definitely great peace of mind, and then it allows me to just do whatever I need to do and also what I want to do. So I think like that is really great. Like I think my prior career path and thing like those types of things was like really stressful. So that the whole change was like, okay, to live my life happier so I can have just enough money for my family and stuff like that, I really need to be in a position where it's like, okay, got the time, I'm being effective, growth, everything's like, leveling up, but we're not trying to hustle, like I'm just piece by piece,
Yeah.
laying foundations.
It sounds like I guess if you wanted to be at it for a long time,
Yeah.
right? As opposed to like, I don't know, extreme stress and extreme growth in
Yeah.
like, let's say a 3-month, 6-month process. Like
Yeah,
if,
yeah.
if you wanted to be in it for like the long term, like you would want, I guess, this kind of place where you can like
Yes.
consistently get better
Yes.
over like years, as opposed to like, burn out in 6 months and then, peace.
Burnout is quite real. Yeah. Burnout, engineering burnout is like, you can really code a whole bunch and then not see the light of day. And then you get a product out, but then maybe you're looking for a certain type of feedback, or you just, how you feel through that grind process. Because like, I feel that like life is a journey, right? As you're like going through many different things, trying to achieve certain results, that, you always think back prior, like, how did I get to this point? Did I really enjoy it? Did I, was it worth it? Was it really worth it?
Yeah.
And so like part of that is like on my mind. And so that's why I'm kind of choosing this path now. I was like, okay, let's just, chill out a little bit and then progressively get better. So,
Yeah.
but I mean, it just depends on what part of your life you're
Sure.
at. Yeah. So I think that's where I'm at.
When you think about the TAM that entered amptalk a few years ago,
Yeah.
and then the like now,
Yeah.
like what do you think has been the biggest change for you?
Yeah, biggest change. Like I'm not so eager to code. Like I'm eager to think it through. Like
Yeah.
think it out and like really lay out like the game plan. Because I think like for instance, when you start, you just want to prove yourself. Like you just want to be like, yo, I can code. Like, I can do this. Don't tell me I can't do it. I can do it. Ah, let me like grind something out, right?
Yeah.
And so like nowadays I try to just step back and just be like, okay, let's think through this problem first.
Sure.
And then try to architect it in a way that's like, okay, this will solve these particular problems, and we can do it in a progressively like scalable way rather than just like, okay, let's do a hot fix for this particular, let's hard code some values, let's do something, and let's survive another day. Like, yeah, that's like very two different mindsets, right? Yeah. So yeah, very, very, that's the difference. I would say, like, now I'm in this like more calm zen place.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think like whenever a newer software engineer joins a company, I think there's a lot of like, hey man, I can code.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I want to like prove myself.
Yeah.
And then there's also like a wise Yoda there that says, hey man, you're gonna burn out. Just relax.
Just
It's
chill,
good.
man.
It's all good. Yeah, it's all good. Like we're gonna get it.
Yeah, dude, you'll
Yeah.
be all right. But you're like, no, I gotta prove myself though. No, you don't understand. But it's like, no, you gotta chill out. It's gonna be there tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's not gonna change, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about, like, other than salary, like
Yeah,
what are
yeah.
the benefits of working at amptalk? Like what would you tell a friend of yours that was thinking of applying?
Yeah.
Um,
I would say, like, if you're really looking to like grow in your software career, in your engineering life, like what type of engineer you really want to be, because sometimes like the situation dictates what you're going to do, right? Like if you join a company and they're like, everything's on fire, we gotta like put these fires out, that's going to dictate like how you grow.
sure.
I think at amptalk we're like, okay, we're everything's quite cool, that where everything's kind of handled, that if you want to specialize in something, or you want to like focus in like some type of like growth in a particular area of software engineering, I think that's the reason why you would join, because it gives you that space, it gives you that room. And also, I feel that the team itself, we're so good that any of us can take care of it. There's no danger days where we're just like, oh, this person's missing, we need, oh shoot, we're done. And there's a lot of places like that, a lot of companies like that, and you can't escape that. But if you take the time to like prepare, architect, and like really set those things out, then you don't have to worry. You know what I mean? Because those things, those practices, those habits, those things are there that consistently make a company good.
Sure.
One
of the striking things about talking to everybody here today was actually, I think, the shared importance of like just like scoping, or like problem decomposition. I don't know what the name would be, but
that's the practice of it. I don't know the exact name either,
Sure.
but it's just like scoping down the
Sure.
issues. Yeah.
I feel like everybody that I've talked to today has talked about scoping in some sort of way, and like this seems to be like a everyone treats it like it's very important.
Yeah.
Do you, is there anything else that everyone treats as very important in the same way as, let's say, scoping, or
I think that's the biggest thing, because we're big on processes.
Okay.
Yeah, big on processes, because like, when anybody makes a mistake or anything goes wrong, it's more of the process rather than the actual individual or something like that, And so here we tend to just like look at the processes over and over again to make sure that it's all good. It's because, at the end of the day, we're all human, man. You know what I mean? Some bad stuff is going to happen sometime eventually. But here we have the comfort of knowing that, dude, it's okay. You can be human. You can make those mistakes, and, tomorrow it's going to be a good day.
Yeah.
It's all good. Yeah.
Yeah. It's quite funny. So every single person has also talked about process as well.
Yeah.
There seems to be like I guess what you would call a culture, like what you would call like something that everyone like equally is like feels is important. Wow. Like when you first came to amptalk, did the company culture align with your own? And like, is that why you chose to join amptalk, or was there other or has it changed over time?
I think like in the beginning, I was really more focused on just the product, maintaining one product, right? But then over time, it became more about like the value system was like, oh wow, we all have a shared, we all were looking to grow essentially. And we, maybe there's some stake here or there, or like some processes, bumps in the road, but everybody's willing to take ownership in a way that it's like, we're not going to make you feel bad about it. We're all going to try to be better. You know, like we're it's not just one person, you know. And so I think we all have a shared understanding that, you know, don't worry about it. It's not going to be like your fault, his fault, whatever that case may be. But it's just like, okay, because we have these processes and because these value systems that are like maintaining our company culture and individuals as well. And yeah, it's been helpful, you know. I don't really think about it anymore like that, you know. It's just ingrained into like how I work, that it's like, wow, I don't know if I want to work a different way, because like I could grind it out, I could do all these things, but it's just like, is that the better way for me? You know, personally, because I know other people, of course, will have different opinions and depending on the point in their lives, right? So yeah.
I guess it's like a warm cup of tea. It just feels right to
you know. Sometimes it just fits like a glove, you know. It's just, I'm just saying, you know. Sometimes it's like that, you know. I'm not saying like, you know, they're definitely, it's not perfect, of course. But at the same time, like everybody's willing to like work together. Yeah, I think that's the best thing. That's the best thing. Yeah.
So I've talked to a few people that mainly speak Japanese today.
Sure.
I've talked to a few people that mainly speak English.
Yep.
I know that the clients are Japanese, right? Can somebody work on this product without Japanese knowledge?
Yeah, I'm definitely living proof of that. Yeah, because like I mean, I have some Japanese understanding, but it's not enough, you know, to work at a Japanese company, which is so definitely they can.
How does the like company do stuff to like make sure that you can like work on the Japanese product while being a mainly English speaker?
I would say if there's ever a need to like translate certain like the keywords, but the programming itself is all English, so logic is, you know, shared understanding in English and stuff like that. So it's nice that everybody's able to communicate all those particular details, important details to me. So
and I guess for what's coming next, or like for the next year, I guess no. Actually, I actually asked Inose-san, if there's like exciting projects coming up, and he said that it's probably something best that he doesn't want to talk about it in terms of like the confidentiality stuff. So I think I'm not gonna go there either.
Good.
Do you have any like advice about somebody that's trying to apply to amptalk to get past the interview process and to do well here?
I think it's like, to pass the interview process, definitely work of knowledge that you feel you're kind of like expert in, and at the same time like being like a team player and not really like looking, if you make a mistake, I think it's like, how do you take that? Because like they'll pinpoint certain things, they'll make it a little bit difficult, but at the same time they just want to see how you respond to that type of danger. And so like, you know, I think being mindful of that, and at the same time just being good at code. You definitely have to be good at code in a certain way. So just good vibes, be know your code. And I think those two are very like universal, but
And let's say, Tam, I'm a friend of yours, and I'm thinking about applying to amptalk, right? Is there like a certain kind of engineer that does well here and that doesn't do well here?
I would say so. I think an engineer who is more selfish about certain things, or selfish about keeping like things to yourself, you may have a harder time here.
Is this about knowledge or like communication?
Just more communication, I would say. More about communication, because like, because we're openly willing to share things, but like if there's a deadline or something and there's like, something happened and we were not able to communicate that well, then it's like kind of tough. But if you let everybody know ahead of time and just kind of like, hey, we need more, like a couple more days or something like that, then it's all good. It's definitely more communication than the engineering process. I think engineering, you got to know what you're doing, but at the same time, like we're all learning too. So and that doesn't stop in terms of like like leveling up because they may have everybody here has like a domain like knowledge of they're good at something that they're good at, but we're not like super pros that been coding for like 20 plus years.
Sure.
Yeah. So
yes, on on the opposite side,
Yeah.
is there somebody that does really well here? Like if there's like a friend
Mm-hmm.
of yours that's like, hey man, this guy's the perfect dude. Like he would be really happy here at this company.
yeah.
Or I guess guy or girl. Like this person would be
yeah.
really, really happy at this company.
Yeah.
Like what kind of person like would do really well here?
Yeah, somebody who would do really well is just like you're autonomous, but you're just really open. I think really open to just like communicate and talk. I think that's part of it. Just having good communication. Yeah, I think somebody who is willing to learn and then break down any old habits. Like let's say, because for us, like even for me, like we do a lot of TDD. So if you're not really down with the testing, it's quite tough. I'm being frank. You're not down with testing. It's gonna be a little tough. You're gonna have to relearn how to do things. And I wasn't down with testing in the very beginning. I was like, we can do this a little bit quicker if we just like push this right. But then like pushing the prod. But that is a habit.
Sure.
That is a process of doing so many small projects, right? Because you have deadlines, quick deadlines, and then people expect things quick.
Yeah.
But here, as you're maintaining one product, it's like, okay, you got to know that this product's going to be here for a while, and then it has to work for other people in the way that it needs to. So you have to test, right? And it's TDD. It's just like you gotta be down with the TDD. You gotta be down with the testing. Down TDD. Yeah.
And I guess this is more of a Tokyo question.
Sure.
In terms of like, I don't know, building out your life here, let's say. Like, for real. Like looking back at like moving to Japan, like all the stuff that you had to do to like create a life here.
Yeah.
Is there something that you think went really, really well? Like, hey, I'm just really glad I did that. As a foreign person moving to Japan.
Yeah. Oh, man, it's tough, man. My experiences are very different.
Sure.
I'm very lucky to have my wife.
It's because your wife's Japanese, right?
My wife's Japanese, and like she's been so helpful with everything. Like I really, really love her. So
marry the right person.
Yeah, you got to marry. That's a.
This is a good.
That's a very important. You got to marry the right person. You got.
No, that's a. I mean,
that's like really. You got to marry the right person. So. Yeah. I mean, she made it easy. Like her family made it easy. Everybody made it easy around me. I'm very lucky. Like you have no idea. I don't speak a lick of Japanese, and I'm thriving here. Like, you gotta understand how.
Thanks, wife.
You gotta understand how difficult that may be for some people. So, I mean, but if I were to do it all over again, with just engineering things like that, for coming to Japan, I mean, just asking a lot of questions to the right people. Yeah. And even if they're not the right people, just keep going. You know what I mean? Be persistent. Yeah.
Tam, thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
I really appreciated this conversation.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. This was Tam Nguyen from amptalk. Thank you.